Well, I love this story, so I want to hear the story.
Yes, LeBron's a senior in high school. It's clear he's going to go straight to the NBA. The next biggest decision for him is what sneaker company will he sign with. So the first meeting we have is with Reebok. $60 million. I was like, like the cartoons where it's like, your eyes start spinning and he goes, one more thing. There's a check for $10 million. He says, that is a signing bonus on top of this. And this is a recurring theme in LeBron's life that I've seen forever. He said, I can't believe this. This is mind-numbing. This is da-da-da. But I want to see what the other guys have to offer. You never know. And I'm betting on myself that everyone will get to this amount of money. And he took the bet. You know, I haven't done anything like this. I've turned down everything only because I love you.
Did you get that
I've
on
been
camera?
keeping quiet.
You gotta get that on camera.
I've been trying to keep quiet.
He turns down everything.
Not everything, but I have been lately.
Well, I decided to do something that I've never done. So I like to research a lot, and so that I feel like I know that their life better than them. And I was researching you, which is weird because we've known each other a while. And then I'm like, you know what I want to do? Because everything is just a version of somebody else's. You've already done it, right? So it's like I interview people, you do interviews and interview people. But that's another thing. You're an accomplished podcaster yourself. And so I'm like, it. Why don't we just, because we have such great conversations. I love our conversations. I'm like, now I'm going to do a hybrid of questions and research and just freestyle.
Go.
Because I don't think people do that enough in podcasts and just let it rip. So I want to let it rip. So I have a lot of stuff. I'm just going to do your bona fides because why not, right?
This part always is my least favorite part, but go for it.
It's my favorite part because you're an amazing guy. It's great to chronicle some of that stuff, give people some context. You're from Akron, CEO of SpringHill, co-founder of LRMR Ventures, which I want to get into. You oversaw the merger of SpringHill with Fullwell 73. I want to get into that.
Yeah, we just got announced today. We announced it today. It's been holding a while. We're executive producing and in charge of all of the ceremonies for the 28 Olympics. It's a big deal.
We're breaking the news today.
It's just got announced today.
So you took time out of your schedule today where you announced that you're going to be doing all of the
ceremonies for the 28 Olympics here in LA.
Insane.
Big deal.
Huge.
Big deal.
Massive. Well, that's a big deal, and we're breaking it today. We should start there. I just want to say you began your career at Nike, which we're going to get into. Nike or Nike?
Nike. I think Nike. I say Nike. Yeah, I say Nike.
I say Nike and Nike. I say both. You revamped one of my favorite films, Space Jam: A New Legacy, Hustle with Adam Sandler, as well as documentaries like Becoming. I've been watching Starting Five.
That's a fun one to watch.
Basketball is a beautiful sport. We love going out there, playing in front of the fans.
Starting Five is good.
Yeah, it's fun.
And name Time's 100 most influential people in sports.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't even know. And Fast Company's most creative people in business. Mav Carter, the man, the machine, the legend, here today on a day where he's breaking news that you're getting all the ceremonies, and I believe you're competing in every sport in the Olympics here in LA.
Yeah, when I used to be skinnier, stronger, faster, I still couldn't compete in any of the Olympic sports, but I did have that dream.
I think you'd take,
as a kid when I was back in Akron.
You would take gold in everything except for beach volleyball. All right, so I love you. I think you're a fantastic person. You are a inspiration to many and to me. Let's start in the beginning. See, I'm already tearing up. Grandma. Let's start with Grandma, and let's start with Akron. I want you to describe the top, the middle, and the bottom.
Akron, where I'm from. First off, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Lovely
big day. We're breaking news.
It was the day, yes, that we broke news in our company at Fullwell.
And congratulations.
Thank you. Huge. And it's a pleasure to be sitting here with you. A man who's an inspiration to me, who built a brand and a business which inspired a lot of my career. I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you.
Akron is a place that it's where I'm from. It's where my parents were from. My dad's side originates from, as far as we could trace it back, Missouri. Mm-hmm. and my mom's side from Arkansas and Alabama a bit.
So came up for work in the car factory. They did tires.
For work, Akron was known. It's still cold today, though it's not the rubber capital of the world. To give a little history what that means, contextualize that. Up until late 60s, early 70s, it's a crazy stat to think about this. If you went around the world and you counted 100 tires, including cars, planes, wagons, bikes, 99 of those were made in Akron up until sometime in the 70s.
Right.
So came to work.
All the tires.
All the tires. And as you know, anytime you have an industry that big, which going way back, rubber was it was basically the Silicon Valley. If you go back to the turn of the 20th century, all the great inventors, there's pictures of Cyberling, who created Goodyear, Thomas Edison hanging out in Akron, Harvey Firestone, and they would all hang together because it was like rubber and polymer was Silicon Valley. It was like chips back then, yeah. And
I've got one word for you, my boy: plastics, polymers from the 60s, the graduate.
Correct. And all the businesses around the rubber industry is what brought Black people to Akron, like my family. My grandfather was a construction worker. I didn't get to meet him. He died of cancer before I was born. By the time I was born and living, my grandmother, Dorothy Mae Jackson, who was an inspiration to my life, she had 7 kids in 9.5 years, so all very close. Today, all of them are alive except for one. I've lost one of my aunts. My dad is the youngest, and my uncle is the oldest, and they are 9.5 years apart, and there's 5 girls in between them. And we grew up very close family because all of them are close in age, and then all of their children, which are all of my first cousins, were all close in age. Right. And there's 7 of them. I think in our generation of cousins, I think there's 22 of us or 21. And we all grew up going to, the ones that lived in Akron, which were most of them, grew up going to my grandmother's house, and she ran after hours. Before I was born and up until I was born, and she didn't stop until I was born in 81. She didn't stop until the 90s when my dad and his sisters forcibly made her stop.
What's an after hours?
An after hours is literally the name, and they were in all communities, definitely in Black communities. We call them after hours, a place where you can go and get yourself another glass of wine, another libation, once after the hours of the bar.
Right.
So the bar has to close by state law, and after hours is a place you go, it's 1:30, but I could do 1, 2, or 20 more. And she was the place that said, come on in, I'll serve you. And then also, she did that, but then also she did it in her basement. There would be gambling games.
Yeah.
A game called Pity Pat, which for women's, sometimes craps.
Pity Pat?
Pity Pat.
What is it?
Mostly women played it. All my aunts played it. My mom. It is like it's a very fast match game, almost like Goldfish, but a little different. But it's like, and the first one who basically makes 6 matches going clockwise wins the pot. And they would bet like $5 a hand.
So it's Pity Pat and craps. What else?
And a little poker.
So you could play poker, craps, Pity Pat, have a drink.
And she'd take a rake on the game, sell the liquor, and then there was food. She'd be, the kitchen, the basement was like twice the size of this room, maybe, and there could be 75, 80 people in there just jammed in there because the tables might be full, and you put your name down, and you wait for a spot on the tables.
Popular.
Very popular.
So this is the greatest thing on earth. It sounds like I want to go there now.
It's where I honed my skills.
Yeah, amazing.
The little skills I do have were honed there.
So you played poker or craps?
I grew up as a kid.
Served drinks?
At 5, my mom and my dad would already be out in the streets. My mom and dad had me when they were 22, both of them. So by the time I was 6 or 7, they were still 27, 28. They were still
partying,
living a great life, partying. And they would drop me, my mom, when she got off work at 5 o'clock, by 6:30 on Friday, I was at my grandmother's house. She'd drop me off. Before I got in the door, her car would be pulling off because she just knew someone was in there. And then so I would be there Friday basically until Sunday night, my mom would come back and get me. And at 5, my grandmother taught me how to play pity pat, how to shoot craps. And then I learned, I didn't get to do it, but I knew how the rake worked. But my job was at the end of the night, and the end of the night could be 5 in the morning, just depends on how long the players played. It could be 7. She'd wake me up, and I'd sweep up the cigarette butts, those beer cans.
Change, maybe some money.
Yes. And finders keepers.
Yeah.
But my grandmother taught me a valuable lesson, which was whatever I found, and I'd find $1 or $5.
Sure.
But any night, a good night, I could find $20.
Yeah.
On a bad night, I'd find $2.
Yeah.
And the rule of my grandmother was, whatever I found was mine, except for the next day in the lottery, I put a number in for her. That was the only. She taught me a valuable lesson, which is I'm cleaning, but it's her house. So really, what's on the floor is hers.
She gets her big no matter what.
She gets her big no matter what. She taught me what it means to take a big and why people get bigs or not.
Yeah.
And that's how I grew up from 5 until.
And sorry, Laura, and you can tell me I want the truth here, is that she named you Maverick.
She named me. She loved the show.
Who is the tall, dark stranger there? Maverick is the name. Riding the trail to who knows where. Luck is his companion. Gambling is his game.
Before my time, I've watched it in retrospect later in life, Maverick. It's about a guy, Brett Maverick, and his brother, Bart Maverick, which is their last names, which I often tell people. People who know that show, like if I'm at the airport or wherever, and someone asks me my name, if they're old enough to have watched that show, they often ask me, is that your last name?
Yeah.
Because on the show, that was the guy's last name, wasn't there? She took it and made it my first name. And she told, I would have been her youngest grandchild because my dad was the youngest. So, and she told my mom, you're going to name that boy Maverick. And that was how I got my name.
He always carried $100 bill. I always keep $100 bill because of that show. And it was James Garner, grew up with it.
Correct.
And fantastic show. You know, he was sort of the smart.
What I love about him, he always danced right on that, a little Batman-esque, I guess, of like, he's definitely for good, but he might have to do some bad to get, he might have to swing to do a little bad to get everything good to happen.
And he's a gambler. And
correct, and he was a big gambler, a risk taker.
And they made a movie about it with
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson was Maverick, and James Garner is his dad.
Correct.
Which is funny.
Correct. They remade the movie, and my grandmother told my mom that, and my mom said, absolutely, we're doing it. She went with it. I've never asked my mom what was her second choice, because I really don't give a shit, because I don't want any other name.
Yeah.
I love my name. But I never asked my mom what was her choice. But my grandmother, and to put a fine point on the story, when my mom went into labor, my grandmother left a poker game to go to the hospital. Wow. That's a fact.
Football season is upon us, and this season we've teamed up with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we have special offers for our listeners every single week. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code SHANE, that's Shaney, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Just make sure you use bonus code Shane when you sign up. And do you think that Maverick, as a name, helped shape and or define you as a person?
Yeah, absolutely. I always tell people, my grandmother and my mom gave me the name, but I've done my best, and I continue my best to earn the name.
Yeah, that's it.
They gave it to me, but I'm earning it. But yeah, I think, I often think if my name was, no disrespect to any name, but if my name was Michael.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd be the same person. I think it's just the way it is, that there is something about my name that kind of is destiny to go and try and be the person that your name says you should be.
You're a maverick.
Yeah.
You became a maverick. Now, you're also a hustler, and I mean that in a good sense, and a capitalist, I mean that in a good sense. You learn, look, we've got to make money in this life, because you came from nothing. If you grow up with no money, money takes an inordinate sort of part of your ontology, your metaphysics, but for a reason.
For sure.
And so I want to go back to that, sweeping up for money, figuring out money, how you can make money, and then how that sort of taught you, because then all of a sudden at a very young age, you were thrown into real capitalism, real big time deal making, but you've kind of had training. And when you get thrust into these like Time Warner meetings and Disney meetings, and you're in with the biggest guys, and you're going, what the am I going to do? It all just goes back to your youth and my youth. When you make deals, it's not a lot different than making deals on the schoolyard or in the after hours.
Correct. There's the learning of people.
Yeah.
And you get thrust into it, to your point. And we didn't design the system. This is the system we were born into. And we were born into this level of the system. So to your point, I was born with nothing, no money, nothing, a very loving family, but a family led by my grandmother and then my dad and the rest of them, but mostly my grandmother and my dad, who like put a pretty sharp emphasis on, you have to earn your way in this world, son. You understand that.
Yeah.
In some ways they would say it, a lot of ways they would do it, but it was just a thing. Like, if you don't earn, you don't get to enjoy things. Like, that's just the way it worked. And my grandmother built that into, I mean, she woke up every day, figuring out, okay, what's next? What am I going to do? And that was just on her mind. That's who she was. I tell people every day she woke up, she put a white apron on. She kept clean white aprons. No matter what she put on, she put a white apron on every day, tied it around her neck and her waist at about 5 o'clock in the morning, and went down in her kitchen, and she'd take a pencil or a pen and stick it in her hair. So it'd be coming out of her thing. And she had notepads that she kept in her pockets of her apron. One notepad was her list of people who owed her money. Shane owes me $20.
Like money on the street, like loan shark.
Yeah, like a loan. Or you were in the after hours last Friday, and you said, Miss Carter, you got credit. Yeah. Can I get a couple shots of whiskey and I'll pay you next Friday when I get paid? Or can I get a half a pint?
I love her so.
And she had all the names of people who owed her money. She crossed them off. It was like her ledger, basically.
Yeah.
So her ledger was in one pocket. In the middle pocket was groceries she needed, because she always cooked. Groceries she needed, and I needed to go get some.
Sorry, is there food at the after hours?
There is food at the after hours, I was going to say. If you're playing, it's free.
Oof.
If you're not playing, you pay $5 for a plate. If you're playing, it's on the house. You get a plate. We call them plates. This is like a plate of food.
Yeah.
And then, so she'd have her grocery list was in the middle. And in the left pocket was she played the numbers. She loved playing lottery.
Sure.
And she'd be dilly and dallying with what
for everybody's edification, numbers are the lottery, but the lottery of the neighborhood.
The lottery of the neighborhood.
You pick numbers.
Correct.
You pay some money, and if it comes back.
Correct. And before lottery became legal, when she was doing it, long before I was born, you played it based off the last 3 or 4 digits of the NASDAQ.
Oh, okay.
That's how it was based. The original numbers before the states, now states run lottery. I think all 50 states run lottery, I'm sure. Before that, it was based off the last 3 numbers of the NASDAQ that day. And she told me that. That goes way back.
Wow. It was run by the mob
It
tradition.
was run by the mob.
Yeah.
And in black communities, it was run, one of the most famous women, Stephanie St. Clair in Harlem, had a big numbers racket. The mob, the Irish mob ran it. All the mobs ran their neighborhood. Dutch Schultz, yeah. My grandmother was always, she knew all the guys who ran. I mean, this is before I was born.
Yeah.
Up until I was born, the same guys who ran the numbers in the black community where I'm from, she knew them very well, because she would let them come and they booked numbers at the after hours and collect and pay. She did business with them.
Sure.
So 3 pockets in her apron every day. And that's what she did. So I saw that. So you just knew you had to work. You got to figure this out every day if you want to eat. So that idea of, to your point, of big capitalism, I didn't realize till in my 20s, much later in life, but I was kind of born into a capitalistic hustler, figure your way out, entrepreneurial mindset.
She didn't have to run an after hours.
No.
Nothing in the law said she had to run an after hours. She did it because she wanted to make money.
She wanted to make more money. Her husband, my grandfather, was a construction worker, so he went to work every day. Yeah. And this is what she did. So this happened in her basement.
Well, it must have been a time when they kind of came out of the pond and went, wait a minute. Grandma's making a lot more than Grandpa.
big time. And also my grandfather and all people would bring his buddies to the after hours too, which was a revenue generator too. But yeah, she was making a lot more. And by the time I was born, he had passed away of cancer. She just kept it going. That was just her thing. And everyone in the town knew her. Her name was Dorothy, but they called her Miss Carter. They called the place Miss Carter's. And it was capitalism at its finest. It ran. It was a smooth operation.
Right.
It was capitalism at its finest.
I want the movie rights because that's the next SpringHill production. So you're learning capitalism from a young age. We're in Akron. We're talking about I want to talk about the top, the middle, and the bottom. You meet LeBron James. You're playing basketball. You're a year or two ahead of him.
3 years.
3 years.
We met long before high school.
Right.
Then he moved around. LeBron bounced around living, him and his mom. Then we met at a Catholic high school called St. Vincent St. Mary's. Our logo is the Fighting Irish. There's a little Irish guy with his, with the hat on.
I know it well.
Well, you know it very. You know the cliche, very.
Yeah, I should probably have one of those on my arse if I wasn't a little bit more sane. But anyway, keep going.
I then again, in retrospect, learn a lot about the world, capitalism, winning mentality, because we were at a school. The school is still great today. Coach Drew Joyce, who's been there coaching the team forever, for 20-something odd years. It was in Catholic high school.
Yeah.
Very small high school, 400.
You could go there.
It was pay. There's a private Catholic high school, belonged to the diocese. The diocese ran the school. But none of us guys on the basketball team were Catholic.
Right.
I had never been to a Catholic.
And did you have to pay?
Yeah. Oh. Yes, you were supposed to pay, but I got financial aid because my mom had no money and I was pretty good at basketball.
Right.
So, but the funny thing about this capitalism thing I'm thinking about now, which I don't know if I've ever talked about this, is in retrospect, I did learn another thing because, again, it is a very Catholic high school. We went to chapel 3 times a week. We went to chapel before basketball games. Fighting Irish is our logo. None of us basketball players were Catholic.
Right.
And our coach was Jewish. All in the name of winning.
Sure.
That is again, capitalism.
We're going to bend the rules to win that game.
Exactly. Our coach, who I love to this day, Keith Danbrot, was a Jewish man. We were African Americans who were not Catholic.
The whole team?
Not the whole team, but most of us.
There was a couple guys who were...
Yeah, 2 or 3 that played, that contributed. Were great players, by the way. Great players. But it was all...
Is it famous for basketball?
Very famous for basketball.
Because I remember hearing about LeBron when he was in high school.
Yeah, by the time I then graduated, by the time LeBron was a senior, it was a massively famous high school. It had tradition before him.
Yeah.
He made it famous. That is
because he was heavily recruited out of high school.
He was heavily recruited out of high school, and by the time he was 17, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
That's right. I remember.
If you go back and look at that picture, it's a good thing to pull up. The jersey he has says Irish.
There we go.
It just says Irish
on it. I'm gonna get that jersey.
You should have that.
I should have that jersey. That's amazing.
Exactly.
So you go to the same high school. You're a few years ahead of him.
Yep.
And so how do you develop your relationship a little bit?
We known each other from our neighborhoods. Then he bounced around and we reconnected in high school. I was a senior. He was a freshman along with his other best friends who were all great players who contributed. He was obviously the best. That year we went 27-0, won the state championship.
Sorry, you're on the team.
Well, I'm on the team.
So you're like one of the elder statesmen.
I am the older statesman. That's the relationship.
Okay, yeah.
I am the older statesman.
Yeah.
And he's the young gun
killer. Yeah.
I am the elder statesman. We're both the 2 best players on the team.
Oh.
I was known as the best player on the team coming into the year. He gets established very quickly.
And you're like, who is this dude?
Everybody's.
By the way, just to be weird, you're like, hey, I'm the best player on the team. This kid comes along, he's better than you. It's good that he's the best player of all time. That's good for the ego.
I'm glad he turned out to be that. You're right.
Well, Michael Jordan was on the same team.
Yeah, exactly. It's all right if that guy's better than you. Exactly.
It's okay then.
So he quickly established himself as exactly what you said. But it's interesting what you say. I had a mentality then, and Coach Dambrot helped me get this, and I love him for this. That he taught me at 18, son, a high tide raises all ships.
That's right.
It's just do you, but if we win, you will
You're
get
a state
elevated.
champ.
We won the state championship. I got everything I wanted. We won the state championship, 27 now. I got a Division I scholarship to college, full ride.
To who?
My mom did that. I went to Western Michigan and Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I got state player of the year, actually. As I tell people to this day, I've said this before, I'm the only teammate LeBron has had that won MVP on any team he's ever played on the history.
Right, besides him.
Besides him. Every team he's ever played on, he's won.
Because they were like, he's only got one more year. LeBron's going to win the next 4. Just give it to him.
He did. He won of course. He won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So I got everything I need. I dreamed of and
Yeah.
wanted.
Fantastic.
And Coach Dambrot helped me understand that at that age, that just win. If you win, everybody will get what they deserve.
100%.
And that's true in business. To a leader in business, life. I believe that if you just win, if we win, everybody will get what they should get.
I don't know if they still do masterclass as a thing, but this is a masterclass in capitalism. And we've gotten to the biggest ones. Make money. You have to want to make money.
You have to want to
which is a
make
big
money.
thing. And then 2 is just win.
Just win.
And by the way, manage talent. If you're not the most talented, which I think you and I both grew up being the best hustlers.
Not yes.
If somebody's better than you, put them to the front.
Let them have
If
it.
someone's better at you at TV, go
Go
for it.
for it. And you have to recognize that right away and go, okay, I'm clear on this. Go for it.
Football season is upon us, and this season we've teamed up with BetMGM. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we have special offers for our listeners every single week. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code SHANE, that's Shaney, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Just make sure you use bonus code Shane when you sign up. Great story so far. We're like 1 millionth into it, and I know you're busy because so I want to go fast. On the same team, you win the state title, but also state player of the year, and get a full ride. Now, he looks up to you, your friends.
We develop a big brother
There we go.
relationship. It's just like the truest form of brothers.
Right.
And I'm older. He's obviously more talented. He's more beautiful. He's more talented. He's got all the things, but I'm the big brother who taught him how to
Been around the block.
and taught him how to drive. I taught LeBron, like I had the car. You know, he was 15, I was 18.
But you were 18 going on 30 because you've been the after hours.
Correct.
You knew
And
the world.
I was a bit more worldly.
Yeah.
Taught him how to drive everything. And
What car did you teach him how to drive?
a car I still own to this day, a 1984 Chevy Caprice Classic.
There we go, which is a classic.
We bought it, my mom, me, and my dad, for $1,500 in 2000, and I kept it for a while. And when I was ready to move on to something else, my grandfather on my mom's side bought it, and as a grandfather would do, he kept it in the garage pristine forever, and he passed away, and I now have it back, which
There you
is
go.
pretty
It's pretty good.
cool. My mom and my dad surprised me one year on my birthday, probably like 5 or 8 years ago, and got it and gave it back to me. My first ever car. I still have it to this day. So our relationship really developed into like siblings. I was the older sibling, but then LeBron exploded. Like the next 2 or 3 years after I left and went up to college, he really exploded and just, he became the greatest high school basketball player in the history of this
Ever.
country.
Huh.
It's him and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, most people would say, end up on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And now this little town of Akron actually became the kind of one of the, the center of the universe for youth basketball. Like everybody's coming there. Shoe companies, scouts, college scouts, pro scouts. And then it gets to the point where it's like, oh, he's so good, he's never going to play in college. So college guys are like,
Which is huge.
I'm not wasting my time. If you talk to
Very
college,
rarely happens.
very rarely happens. They're not wasting their time. Pro guys, shoe companies are now coming into Akron. And it just like mushroomed into this thing that was just like.
And does he have any representation at this time, or he's just like...
He does not, because back then, before the rules changed, now you cannot. So it's his mom.
Can't have an agent.
No, it's his mom, his high school coach, kind of running the point for everything, trying to keep all this in order.
Which is crazy, because you've got like the biggest names, not even in college, in pros coming.
You have pros, you have sneaker companies coming back then. The three big sneaker companies were Adidas, Reebok, and Nike. Reebok had not sold their company to Adidas yet. It was run by talk about one of the great entrepreneurs.
Well, I love this story, so I want to hear the story.
Yes, Paul Fireman.
But give me the setup to the story.
So fast forward, LeBron's a senior in high school. It's clear he's going to go straight to the NBA. He announces in May of 2023, he announces his intentions to leave high school and go straight to the NBA. He's clearly going to be the number one pick in the draft. He decides he's not going to play college. And upon doing that, the next biggest decision for him is what sneaker company will he sign with? It's so funny to think about this. It was 23 years ago, this coming up May. So like 20, so long, 22 and a half years ago. Wow. In announcing he's going to play to the NBA, the next big decision for him is what sneakers will he wear when he plays in the NBA? It has already been out there that LeBron is going to sign the biggest deal for a rookie for entering the NBA in the history of sneakers. And as we all know, sneaker companies are massive companies and massive institutions. And basketball is extremely important to sneaker companies.
But have you already started out as like a Nike ambassador or no?
I have.
You have already.
I have.
So on your
Not
own.
an ambassador. I was an intern.
Intern. So on your own.
I become an intern. I met a gentleman named Lynn Merritt, who's a mentor of mine, who retired recently. I met him. He took a liking to me and said, hey, we need more guys like you in our company, especially young, kind of thoughtful, curious African Americans in this company. This is a long time ago, long before DEI and all that was really a thing. And I was an intern, and then they kept me on as a consultant after my internship. So I had already got that work, 2.5 years, a year and a half of that work as the time LeBron was ready to go into the NBA. And at that point, LeBron said to me, listen, he says, I have an agent. I don't need you to be my agent, but I do want you around my business.
So hold on, how does he get an agent?
By the time May of 2003 is coming, he's done playing high school. His high school career is over. Yeah. So he's free to sign with an agent because he has now announced his intention to go play in the NBA.
Right.
So now he signs with an agent.
Yeah, okay.
And he says, whatever sneaker company I sign with, I'm going to put it as a part of my deal that you get a job and work on my business. And all the three of the sneaker companies knew me. I knew all of them by then. Yeah. Obviously, Nike knew me the best, but I knew the guys at Adidas and I knew the guys at Reebok because they had been coming around LeBron and Akron, and I met them and spent time with them. And at that point, I had this much experience. I didn't know shit. But what I did know, I knew what I didn't know.
Right.
I was smart. I didn't know what the I didn't know.
Right.
And at that point, he decides he's got his agent. This is my first real experience in real capitalism.
Yeah, real business.
Real business, high stakes. And this is where, to your point, I am not the decision maker, but being in the after hours and seeing cards, how you play your cards, comes into effect when it's time for him to take his meetings with the three sneaker companies, Nike, Adidas, and Reebok. We determine, we have a meeting, internal meeting. Him, his agent, his mom, myself. And we talk to LeBron and say, which company do you really, all things being equal, who do you want to be with and why? He says Nike, he says all of his reasons. all obvious reasons. His love for Michael Jordan, his love for the brand Nike, Penny Hardaway. They had done an amazing job building basketball players into sneaker brands that sold lots of sneakers.
Yeah.
None of the other companies had really proven that at the time. Reebok a bit, because they had Allen Iverson. Yeah. And we said, okay, based on that, we will talk to Nike last. Because as you know, you've done many deals in your life. The person you want to end up with, you'd like to talk to last because you'd like to let them know, here's what you got to do. I want to be with you, Shane, but the other two guys
What
have
can
said,
I do?
well, here's the hurdle. If you clear the hurdle, we get married.
That's right.
If you can't get over the hurdle.
What do you want me to tell him? I mean, they offered us his own country. I mean, you got to give us the country, the minimum.
Exactly.
Okay, keep going. I love it.
So the first meeting we have, which is what I think the story you like to hear, is with Reebok.
Yeah.
Reebok, at the time, is being run by the entrepreneur who bought the company, Paul Fireman. Adidas at the time, I'm just doing the facts, is an institution already, this time a big public company.
Yeah.
Nike, at this time, is an institution, a public company, but the founder is still the CEO.
Right.
Phil Knight was still there. So that gives them
Did you know him? A little
like
bit.
a little bit.
Yeah.
I passed him when I was an intern in the halls and seen him.
So when you're an
but
intern,
he was still the
when
CEO.
you're an intern,
He was in it every day.
You're going to Portland every once in a while.
When I was an intern, I lived in Portland for 4 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For 4 months, I lived in Beaverton, actually.
Oh, Beaverton.
I drove a navy blue Subaru Outback. All the way into the culture. And I had an apartment. I lived there for 4 months. Then I went back to college. I was still in college.
Was this a paid internship?
Yes,
yeah, okay.
but hourly. Yeah. They pay you minimal. But it's a very highly competitive internship, as you can imagine. Yeah. It's Nike in 2003. Sure. Then when I went back to college, I was a paid consultant. But I would go visit Portland every now and again when I could. But I was in college and they were paying me as a consultant to work.
Now, do you think that they were hedging their bets because they wanted to get LeBron, or you're just Mr. Basketball and you're a cool guy and they just...
Hedging their bet, and a little bit, they liked me. They knew I had information. A little bit of both. They were doing both. There we go. Absolutely, 100%. So we meet with Reebok, which is run by Paul Fireman, a great entrepreneur who later sold the company for $3.5 billion. He did very well to Adidas. Meeting with Paul, go through the meeting. At the end of the meeting, sitting in a conference room. In this meeting, this is 2003, May of 2003. In this meeting, at the end of the meeting, they give us all the bells and whistles. Here's what we'll do: marketing. Here's our design. Show us all the beautiful things they can do. Here's all the fireworks and beauty that we can do, and we have the NBA rights, and we can make jerseys, and We have Allen Iverson, and they had a deal with Jay-Z at the time, and Pharrell, and it's all of it. Now we get in this conference room, and it's time to talk real capitalism, the numbers. Let's talk brass tacks. So this is my first time ever sitting in a conference room talking about a deal, talking numbers. And I don't have anything to say. I'm a kid. It's really, his agent is in the room. That's who's doing the negotiation. I'm just sitting there, really. And it's me. I'm here, his mom, LeBron, and his agent. Across the table is Paul Fireman. His head of marketing, a guy called Todd Krinsky, who I love, this great man, who's the CEO of Reebok today. Todd Krinsky, his lawyer, his president. And actually, it's the first night I met Steve Stout. Steve Stout was in the room. Steve Stout was the agency for Reebok. And Paul's consigliere guy. I met Steve at that day. And Paul goes up on the board and he lays out the deal. Year one, year two, guaranteed money. If you're an all-star, bonuses. On a whiteboard. I'd never been in a meeting with a whiteboard before. Whoa.
It's a lot of money.
Good deal. Huh? Yeah. I was like the cartoons where it's your eyes start spinning, wow, it's only, you've been there before. It's one of those moments am I really in a room where a guy just talked about giving
Well, I'll
away
tell you my perception of that. But
$60 million.
yeah, but
Like
I want you to finish because
60 million.
Yeah.
Like, what?
well, here's the problem that I have.
I want to hear this.
Whenever you're in meetings, and I want to know if you had the same thing, or LeBron, or both. You have a meeting, and there's the guy from the people and the lawyers and the thing, and they have a whiteboard, and they're saying numbers, and you're like, okay. And to go back to capitalism, your brain kicks in, and you're like, well, I'm not going to say yes the first time. I'm going to ask for more. I'm going to do this and say, well, we've done some research, and Michael Jordan did this, and it makes. By the way, 98% of your profits comes from one brand, and that's Michael Jordan. So we're the next Michael Jordan. It's all, to me, theoretical, and it's just numbers, and it's going back and forth and back and forth. When the check or the wire hits your account and the money becomes real, which it very rarely does.
Almost never. It's
and
like
people don't understand that.
People don't understand
People
that.
don't understand. You don't have $1 billion. That's one thing. B, you generally rarely get money. They give you stock or they give you this or that. Very rarely do the checks come.
Very rarely do the checks come.
But this is why I love this story.
Yes, very rarely do the checks actually come. You get, to your point, there's stock, there's options, there's warrants, there's
In year 3, if you're an all-star and you make the MVP, okay.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yes, as an entrepreneur, it's really hard to get paid out.
Yeah.
And it's weird, in capitalism, you learn this, you don't always want to be paid out. There's like it gets very intricate, meaning you can have equity that's worth X. You and I both had equity that's worth X today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it might be worth 20 plus, 20% more of X or less than X. But at what point do you sell it? Do you keep it?
Control.
Because the minute you sell it, you have to give Uncle Sam some also. That's the
And
other
you
thing.
lose control.
And you lose control. You sell it, you lose control. Plus you're going to pay taxes. Is it worth it to pay taxes? Do you take debt against it? Capitalism is very, you know what I always say, a very simple line? I never believed him as a kid, but it turns out Biggie was right. More money, more problems. I mean, they're good problems. I am not complaining, but it just, the layers just, you don't understand it until you're in it.
But that first check is transformative because I never had anything. And I remember we went in and did a very surreal deal. And he just gave us a good faith check, which I haven't even seen. But he basically wanted to, peg the deal. So he gave us, it was the first money any of us had ever had. And we just ran in circles screaming at the top of our lungs outside the meeting. And we didn't know what to do. Like, what do you do with it? Like, we went to we had been doing bank with this little bank across the street from the office. And we went there like we were speechless. So anyway, this is why I love this story so much so you want to go to Nike. There's still Adidas to go. But these guys come on and do a full court press on you.
And Paul Fireman is a smart man. And he says, at the end of laying this deal out on the whiteboard, he sits down and he's basically like, that's impressive. He set it up, right? He's like, it's impressive, right? And we're all like,
Yeah.
like,
sure. Yeah.
Because remember also, there had been all this talk, LeBron's going to get the biggest deal ever. It was in the press, it was this. And now it was all this buildup, and now it's happening. You're like there, and you're like, oh yeah, I guess it is real. And he goes, one more thing. Top of this, and like Maverick with the $100 bill, he has a checkbook. Paul Fireman just pulls it out. The table's so big, we can't see what he's writing. Tears up, slides it across the table. It's a personal check from him. Like a real, with his address and his wife's name on it.
Cash it tomorrow.
He says, that is a signing bonus on top of this. I'm here, LeBron's mom, LeBron. I couldn't really see it, but I could see enough that I know the zeros were out of the box. The little, there's a box.
Yeah.
It turns out that box can't contain 8 digits. It's a check for $10 million. And he says, if you accept my deal, you take that home tonight. We flew there on his plane. He sent his plane. It's also my first time being, I think he had a G450 private plane. He had my first time seeing like a proper big plane with a flight attendant. It was a Monday or Tuesday night in May. We were taking his plane back after this meeting. We had to get back on this guy's plane. and go back to Akron. And he says, you take this check, you set my deal tonight, you take that check, and that is not less of that, that's on top of that.
Yeah.
So now the deal's $70 million. And he says, all I ask is one thing, for you to take that check tonight and this deal. You shake my hand, he's talking to the money, you shake my hand
We're done.
and say we have a deal.
Yeah.
Obviously it's going to take time to paper it,
Love it.
but you shake my hand
Love it.
and say we have a deal. You look me in the face, say
Make
we have
it
a deal.
personal.
You walk out, me make it personal.
Yeah.
Paul's bet was the right bet, which Paul's bet was,
Very smart.
I got to make the deal in the room.
Got to preempt.
We've all been in that. You got to, on both sides.
Yeah.
He's like, I got to make the deal in the room because I lose to Nike on the fireworks show. I can't beat, they got bigger, better fireworks than me. Their fireworks show going to go higher in the sky. They're going to be last longer. So I got to beat them on, I got to get on another way. And he's an entrepreneur who can do that, right? That was my point about being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He owned the company,
Yeah.
going back to control.
Yeah.
The CEO of Adidas couldn't do that.
Right.
It's not his, he needed approval.
Yeah.
He, to get to a certain deal, you need board approvals. This guy's like, it's my company. I can do whatever I want. He can write a personal check, pay himself back, all type of thing. He said, shake my hand. And LeBron's agent said, we need time. Give us, not like a day, like give us like 20 minutes to an hour to discuss this. They walk out of the room. My jaw, it's not even my money. I just can't. I didn't know that there was this much money in the world. I just didn't know that people wrote $10 million checks. Like as you know, you don't like. I was just astonished that a person could write a check for like.
Yeah.
My mom, like, if the check was like over $12, she's like, "What the fuck? We're not right. I'm not buying." Like, I was like, "Wait, somebody can write a check for 10, and you can go like cash it. You can just, to your point, you can wait. You're telling me, LeBron, because
No
it's
one ever
written to
writes
LeBron.
you a check you can cash tomorrow and just put your money and say, okay, it's my money now.
I couldn't believe that part.
Yeah.
We all were like, his agent then said, "Okay, here's what this means." He laid it out and said, "LeBron, it's your call. Like, if you take this, you're not going to see it with Nike. And this is a recurring theme in LeBron's life that I've seen forever." He said, "I can't believe this. This is mind-numbing. This is da-da-da. But I want to see what the other guys have to offer. You never know. And I'm betting on myself that everyone will get to this amount of money." And he took the bet. I still to this day swear I'm not sure I could have got out of that room without the $10 million check in my pocket. I just don't know. Even today at 44.
But I think it's important for you to give a little bit more context, which is there's the top, the middle, and the bottom. He's still living on the bottom, no?
He's still living on the bottom. When we leave this meeting, we're getting in a plane. We're flying back to Akron. We're getting off that plane, getting in the cars, and he's going to drive, him and his mom, back to the SpringHill Apartments, the name of our company, which is a housing project in Akron, Ohio, still to this day. He was still living there.
But there's the top, middle, and the bottom is the worst part of the project.
The way the neighborhood worked was there's a hill, and where LeBron grew up was called the bottom because it was literally at the bottom of a hill, but socioeconomically, it was at the bottom of the rung too. I have family from there too. It's a housing project at the bottom, and there's a hill that goes up. I lived actually on top of the hill in a low income, but residential with homes neighborhood. So yes, he was going back to the bottom that day and going to high school the next day. He was still, this is May, he didn't finish until June.
Right.
So he was going back to high school.
So you say no to $70 million, but $10 million, like literally I can have $10 million in my bank account tomorrow.
Correct. He says no to 70 in total, of which I don't remember the exact number, but call it 50 was guaranteed. 10 million was bonuses if you do this, that, and the other. And 10 million was you leave, you cash it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think it would be hard for me to walk away from that today.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
See, in my mind, it was always you, because I love you, and it was always you saying, let's wait and talk to Nike.
That was LeBron.
And he had to go back to the bottom. Well, then he gets even more kudos than being the best basketball player of all time, because to go back to the bottom with your mom,
with his mom.
with your mom to a life that you're about to leave. I mean, I guess if you know that you're the best in the world, it says a
But
lot
he's
where you're confident.
18.
Yeah.
We're saying it now.
Yeah.
But my point always is you don't become that person if you don't know that from like the people who usually get to be the best in the world or something, whether they say it, feel it, they know it.
Yeah.
And they make decisions along the way
Yeah.
that get them there. When he said it, I was like, yeah, I'm down. Absolutely. I'm not sure I could have made the decision, but I don't know what it feels like.
It's better for you if he goes to Nike, though.
Better for me. But I don't know what it feels like to be the best in the world at something. Like to wake up every day and be the best in the world. And I think he felt that way at 8. I know he felt that way at 18. Like he was destined to be one of the best to ever do it.
That's a great springboard, but I don't want to get there just yet into you being the best in the world at you take an idea, which obviously there's sports and there's shoes. Okay, that's a traveled path. But you're like, hold on a second. There's a whole untapped world out there where you can do marketing, content. And by the way, why don't we have a piece of the content? Why don't we, which I want to get to because that's your legacy. But I just want to get to how we get there. So you say no to a lot of money, which is hard to do for anybody, even if you're the best in the world. Very difficult to do. Finish the story, how we get to Nike, and then I want to use that as a springboard to.
So say no, leave that meeting, go to the Adidas meeting, which is underwhelming, go to the Nike meeting, which is a great meeting.
Sorry, Adidas underwhelming just because their pitch isn't as good?
Why? I think because their pitch was actually good, but it's hard to compete, as you know, again, when you're up against two companies where the entrepreneur owner is the decision maker and there's just like the president of North America. It's just underwhelming in the sense of like the deal does not match. They can't make decisions quick. We're like, guys, that makes no sense on the deal based on what we have at Reebok. Can you move? Well, we got to call Germany. And you're up against Nike, who Phil Knight is still in charge, who founded the company, and Paul Fireman, who bought Reebok and owned it. He probably owned 100% or close to it of the whole thing. So it was underwhelming in the sense of the person you were dealing with didn't have the power and the leverage to make decisions the size and scale.
So underwhelming. So you go to Nike, you brought home the prodigal son, as it were.
Exactly. Amazing meeting. The deal, they know where they got to get because we have a bid.
Did you give them a little bit of?
Yeah, they know the bid. They know how high the hurdle is, right? They know that they're going to put on their Air Jordans to get over the hurdle. So they get very close, but not all the way there. They come up a bit more. Now we leave Nike, and now it goes on for a couple weeks, and Nike hits the bid. But every time Nike hits the bid, Reebok ups the bid. Bid hit, up the bid. Hit the bid, up the bid. Hit the bid. It goes to over $100 million. I think the final bid, Reebok was higher at the end, $115 million. I think it really got driven up. And as you know, sometimes competitors do that to each other anyway, meaning sometimes in any business, one company knows they're going to lose the deal, but they just drive the money to make the other person spend more. It's probably a little bit of that, but ultimately, Phil Knight asked LeBron a question, which is, he says, this is as high as I'm going to go, which was $90 million, which was the biggest deal in the history. It's still the biggest deal for a rookie. And he says to LeBron, listen, I know you have a bigger bid from Reebok. If you believe you are going to be a really good player, really, really good player, and an all-star level player, and a really good player, you should go take their money. Go take the money. Go get all the money you can get.
Yeah.
But, and again, this is why entrepreneurs running companies win a lot over big companies. But if you believe you are going to be an all-time great, maybe one of the greatest ever play, and have a long career and do amazing things, take my deal, because we will invest more, and in the long run, you will make more.
Sell more shoes.
You will sell more shoes, build a bigger business. We will do that for you. But if you don't believe you're going to be that guy, take more money today.
That's smart.
Phil asks, and he goes to LeBron, how good do you think you're going to be? He put it back on him.
Very.
Very good, right?
So he takes Nike.
Takes Nike. He took Nike. They got closer enough to the bid, and he believed what came to be true. He was going to be who he was, who he thought he was, and they were going to do what they done, and they've built together. The two of them built an amazing company.
Fantastic. And by the way, smart guy, and he also knew how to deal with talent, which is another thing that I want to get into. So that's a great story, but not untraditional in the sense that he's the greatest basketball player around, so a bunch of shoe guys and pro teams wanted to sign him and give him money. He gets you in there because you're his elder statesman / brother. Now, this is where it gets interesting. And again, talk about freestyle. I literally have gotten into no questions just on my first question, which was about your grandmother. But how do you take that? So we've done something that's big, but it's still traditional.
Very traditional.
And say, okay, I want to do something different. I want to be a maverick, and I'm going to go out and I want a piece of content. I want a piece of movies. I want a piece of TV shows. I want to make TV shows. I want to do online stuff. I want to do podcasts. I want to do a thing like The Shop, which I want to get into. Where does that come from?
Bron signs with Nike. I go work at Nike. I take a full-time job there.
Yeah.
2 years or 2.5 years in, LeBron says, I need you back. Come help me.
You've separated from his company.
Correct. I'm full-time employee at Nike.
Doing what?
I was working in sports marketing, and my job was sports marketing's job is to take a massive budget and find the next LeBron James, the next Tiger Woods, the next Serena Williams.
Fun.
Scavenge the globe and find the next great athletes.
Sounds like the best job ever.
It's a fun job.
Yeah. Sorry, and did you get a piece of the initial LeBron deal?
I did not.
Okay, so you have to work.
I have to work.
Okay.
I go to work. But I didn't get a piece of it, like he didn't pay me a piece, but I got a job because of it, for sure. I got a full-time job because of it, so that's my piece.
You don't have a lot of money.
Yes, I do not have a lot of money. I go to work. 2.5 years in, he asked me to come back meaning leave Nike.
Hard to do.
I did not want to do it. I had, as I always say, very good ass job. I had a decent salary. I think I was making 75 grand. Benefits to my family of benefits, health insurance, that shit covered.
Plus it's, I'm just going to go find sports stars and
I'm
sign
living
them?
at Nike. I'm living in Beaver. It's great. And he says, I don't like the way things are going. With my agent, I'm getting rid of my agent. I want you to come back and figure this out for me. I said, figure out what? And he goes, you'll figure it out. So go back, start working. Nike is very understanding of it because they have a partnership with them. So they're like, listen, we want this to work. We know we like you and you're good. So we're cool.
I would be happy as Larry if that happened.
Correct. But I'm like, where do I start? I'm like, okay, here's where I start. I know what I don't know. And I know I need the best people to help me work with LeBron. A lawyer. Let's start with a great lawyer. We had a guy, Fred Nance, who's still our lawyer. A great accountant. I need a great publicist. I hire a publicist. I know there's components of how this should be done.
Those 2 years at Nike were very formative.
Very formative.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then LeBron's going to make money. I don't know how to invest and manage money. We need someone to do that. Find a guy. Most of these people are still with us 20-something years later. And first employee I ever hired in my life 2 years later, Michelle Campbell, is still with us, head of his foundation now, and runs our office back in Akron. She's been with me 20-something odd years. I'm like, to your point, I know what I don't know. And the thinker goes, okay, I'm not the smartest person, but if I get really smart people and they do really smart things, people will think I'm smart. So that was my mission, find smart people.
Yeah.
So I get those people, put them in place. Boom, we're off and running. Things are happening. Cleaning up some deals, making new deals. Now I'm getting a piece of deals. Randy and Rich were partners. We're doing it all. At a point, it gets to a point, because you asked a very important question, was how do I get to like, okay, now there's other things to do. I'm like, oh, my first thought is, as a capitalist and an entrepreneur, I was like, a year into doing the LeBron stuff, I'm like, oh, LeBron is going great. Other athletes will see that and want some of that. And I can build a little management company and get other athletes. That was my first like expansion of thought, scale.
Let's scale this business.
I then realized I didn't even know what the word scale meant, but now I'm clear on what scale meant. Oh, the scale is not going to come from more athletes because with each athlete comes as much work as working with LeBron and a much smaller return. The bigger return with the same amount of work is to build businesses with LeBron.
Scale LeBron.
Instead of representing 15 athletes, build 3 or 4 or 5 companies with us as partners.
And probably if you scale,
that's a better business.
If you built your bench, LeBron would have probably dumped you because he would have had to.
He could have. Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
That's how I got to, okay, we should be doing other things together. Let's figure out how to do other things together. Fast forward to 2011, sold a piece of that company to Fenway Sports Group, which is still my partner today for, now it's been 15
years. Which is the Red Sox.
Red Sox, Liverpool Football Club, and Pittsburgh Penguins.
Love Liverpool.
That's how we became.
Go Reds.
Yes, I love the Reds. Well, we're not playing great right now, our defense. But that's how we became partners there. And in doing that and going through all that, Paul Wachter, who's worked with us for 20 some odd years now, he really gave me a lesson on business school, on like finance, deals, business, because I was good at drumming up and finding opportunities, and I'd bring him in and he'd tell me how to analyze them and think about them and how to like look at them. And he's like an RIA, but more, because works with some of the great entrepreneurs, Jimmy Iovine.
But he's a finance guy.
Yeah. But he was a Fenway guy because Tom Warner, the vice chairman of Fenway, was his client.
Okay.
So he put Tom and I together and crafted the deal.
Yeah.
And gave me a lesson on business, really gave me a business school lesson, still does. I don't know why I'm saying like it's in the past. We still talk every day, and really taught me business and how to look at business and where value lies and how to get value out of things, how to build equity value, how to retain equity value. And I really learned all of that going through all the deals that we worked on. And as you know, I learned a lot in deals that we passed on too. But we did, you do a lot of work on some deals and you pass on them, but you learn a lot through them too.
And I quote, "We don't do endorsements, we do equity."
We like equity.
There we go. Tell me what that means.
In layman's terms, when you think about the value drivers, when you have a asset, a company, an entity, that when you're running any company, as you ran your company and built it, and I've run companies, the job of the person running it is to drive value. That is ultimately
that's your gig.
That is your gig. That there's lots of other parts.
Which you don't realize generally in the early days that's your gig.
It's not. It is to return value to shareholders, employees,
investors,
partners, investors, value. Where's the value?
That's right.
So, and value creation comes in many different shapes, forms. It can come in revenue. It can come in profit. Those are very straightforward value drivers. It can come in brand equity. Price is still an extremely valuable brand. It can come in many different shapes and forms. So in thinking about endorsement versus equity, there are some companies, if it's Coca-Cola, we just do a straight endorsement because it is a public company trading on the public markets.
Endorsement meaning?
Endorsement, we take cash. We just take straight cash.
To do with that.
The cash comes to LeBron. He pays a tax. It's ordinary income. And then with that cash, he can then trade that cash wherever he wants. If he wants Coca-Cola equity, you just go buy it on the open market, no problem. In the instance where we're doing deals with private companies, we wanted equity. In the best of those kind of deals, you get a little bit of both. You get some cash and some equity. Cash, because we all need cash flow to live our life every day.
Can't eat equity.
Can't eat equity. But equity, because LeBron James is going to drive value, he is literally a value driver because of his name, image, and likeness. And the best way for him to capture, if he's driving value on a private company, is to own a piece of it through the form of straight equity, options, something that allows him to capture the value that he is helping drive as a part of whatever he's going to do for the company.
And more tax efficient.
Much more tax efficient to a layman, meaning he's not taking in $1 and have to pay 50% to the government.
56, yeah.
56. He's driving value that he can later decide what to do with that value. So it's much more tax efficient. And even when he decides to take in, if he decides to sell it, it comes in the form of capital gains tax instead of a ordinance. So that's what we were thinking.
It's also great being part owner of something like Liverpool, which is an exciting thing.
It's an exciting thing. It's fun. You get value in many ways from being a Liverpool owner. When we've won Champions League, that's big value. Going to games, there's also economic value that we've gotten. When we bought the club, it was bankrupt, and we bought it out of bankruptcy and have driven tons of value to it. So yes, there is that also.
Amazing. So again, we haven't got to it, but SpringHill, like how did you come up with the idea, like, I want to do media, and how did you build the team, and how, like, how did you sort of start getting into that?
After we did the deal with Fenway, Tom Warner, who is the co-founder and vice chairman of Fenway, who is, if he's not the greatest, him and his partner, Marcy Carsey, they're top 2, 3 greatest television producers in the history of television.
Wow. Okay.
They made The Cosby Show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Rose, that's how he made it.
So hold on. He was a TV guy, made money.
I'd argue he's one of the richest TV producers in the history.
Wow.
Him,
and
Dick
then got
Wolf.
into sports.
Yeah, he took that money and bought sports teams.
I did not know that. There we go.
Yes, he took that money and bought sports teams. And then I met him, did our deal, making commercials for LeBron. One very specific commercial that we made with LeBron with Samsung, which is one of my favorite things we've ever done. He saw that and said, you should be making content in the content business. That's a television show.
Love this guy.
And I never thought about it before that. And in 2014, he and I, my first television show, he and I produced it and sold it together.
What was that?
It's called Survivor's Remorse.
We fell from the Titanic and landed in a lifeboat. I feel guilty. I'm surviving and there's people drowning.
The show went on it was a scripted television show for 4 or 5 years. And through that, I moved to LA and I was like, I'm going into content.
This is fun.
I saw the wave coming. Tom helped me get into it. A guy who worked with LeBron and I on comms and strategic comms, Adam Mendelson, he also told me, he said, hey, there's a content thing happening. This is in 2013, 14. We should be in it. And I went full steam ahead into it and moved here, started building it, started paying attention to media, comms, and looked to Vice. I saw what Vice was doing. And I was like, what Vice showed me was a very important thing. That's why I always admire Vice and what you guys did. Vice showed me, I was like, wait a minute. I always thought like media and content was just like, you either made like the news, like CNN or Fox or ABC or CBS News, or you made like sitcoms, like, Big Bang Theory. That's content. And Vice was this thing is like, no, we're a brand. Like there is a brand. Vice put a wrapper of a brand around content, which was much more hitting home for me than anything like CBS did or Turner or Fox, because I worked at Nike. So to me, everything had a story and a brand, and there's a way you do things and a way you go to market and the way things look. And even you guys wore the Vice rings. Like Vice was the first place I saw put a brand around content. Like when you see this content, it is of Vice, whether it's in food, news, global news, war. I had never seen that before. And that made me like content.
Well, when I knew I liked you, when we had done a series for Vice Sports called Vice Sports, and one of them was Liberty City, where we do the thing.
That was great. Yes.
Well, it was so great. You stole it from us, and you did a series on it. And here's why I like you, because I actually like people who can do something better than me, because then it forces a rising tide floats all boats. So when I saw that series, and I liked the series, it was one of the first series we did that I didn't give extensive notes on, just came in and it was great. And I loved the Liberty City because I love football. And then I saw what you did, and oh, he did it better than us. And it was one of the few times that I had said, oh, these guys took the idea and then went and just did it better. So I was like, who's this guy? I want to go meet him. And then it was the beginning of our friendship. But you just did such a great job at it. You were so good at it. And I was like, wow, this guy's really talented. You built this thing, the barbershop being a cultural thing where people go hack on each other and tell stories and do stuff. It was actually kind of the beginning of the podcast. It was pre the
podcast,
the golden age of podcasting. And by the way, you did podcasting as well. But tell us a little bit about the shop and how that sort of came.
Yeah, the
about.
shop. Listen, not to keep, and I'm not doing this because I'm sitting with you, but like, I'm not kissing your ass because I'm sitting. But like Vice, like that was one of my inspirations.
That was a good time
in the media. Were like Nike. How do I do like Nike meets Vice Sports? I was like that was always floating in my head.
And the shop was on HBO, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Started on HBO. All the things I learned at Nike was always in my head and watching, and I was like, always like, okay, what am I doing? Like, how do I pull this all together? And it was always came back to like, do what feels most comfortable for you and the team, because it's not just me. Obviously, it's a big team. Yeah. And then put it in beautiful packaging, right? Yeah. Like Apple puts things in beautiful packaging. That's a big deal. Like Nike, like wrap it, like always wrap it nice. So the shop was an idea that my brother Randy Mims had and my other brother PR. They had this idea for it to be audio, actually. The first idea was for it to be...
Sorry, your brothers, like family brothers?
Like friends who become brothers. Yeah. And they had this idea, and they came to me like, we have this idea as an audio version to take what happens in the barbershop, all barbershops, but really like the black barbershop, the hood barbershop in our neighborhoods, and like how that energy and conversation flows. And I was like, that's a great idea. What you quickly realize is as a show, it can get messy because it's like, this is like, blah, blah, blah. But the idea was great. And we said, what do we do with this? And we said, okay, let's pitch it as an idea to some brands. And Beats loved the idea. First one we ever did was for Beats, actually. And it just exploded. It just like people loved it. People loved the authenticity of it. We had great guests. Our first ever episode was I should go back and watch this, like Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is on there. John Miller's on there. It's just like a great room. LeBron, Odell Beckham. It's like athletes. I'm sorry, I said John Miller. John Stewart, a comedian, musician. It was like funny but real. We talked about lighthearted, heavy, and it just exploded. And we put it out there as kind of a brand.
Did you get a piece of Beats or no? Just that one.
Beats sponsored it.
Yeah.
We owned it. They were the sponsor.
Right.
It blew up for them. They put more paid behind it. It just kept. It was earned. It was just exploding. Yeah. And we got a call from HBO, and HBO says, "Plepler, Richard."
The best. Shout out to Plepler.
Shout out to Plepler.
The best.
The good old days.
They don't make them like him anymore.
They do not. Shout out to Richard Plepler. I love him. And he goes, Richard Plepler says, I've never seen a show more HBO-like. This is an HBO show. Yeah. And Richard was had built the only other place, but on mass that was a brand. Like HBO was pristine. It was a brand. Like you knew.
The gold standard.
I think I have to add them. They were the brand too. Like if I said that's an HBO show, with your eyes closed, you're like, I know what this is.
Gold standard.
Gold standard.
Yeah.
And that was like a massive moment for me. It was like, I've made something that Richard thinks.
Same thing with Vice. When you get to HBO at the time, that was it. That was the.
I said to Richard one time, we were having dinner. It was me, Richard, this is the good old days, Jeff Bucas, Paul Wachter. Yeah. We're having dinner in LA. And I said to him, and him or Jeff, I can't remember, I think it was Jeff said, I'm going to use that at our board meeting. Or maybe Richard. I said, Richard, I come from the world of Nike. That's where I wrote. I said, getting a show on HBO is akin to having Nike say, we're going to make a shoe in your name.
That's right.
It's like having a Michael Jordan shoe, a LeBron James shoe, a Tiger. If you have a show on HBO, you walked around town like, I have a show on HBO. Like, I got my own sneaker, bro. Like, it was just it mattered that much. And he called us and said, listen, we want to do this. And we went and made the deal, and we were on HBO we're in season 8 now, 4 seasons, 1 Emmys, and it just became a rocket ship, but we kept it true to its form, booked great guests, and it was at that it was like we caught right at the end of the golden age of HBO when like cable and pay, and like it mattered to be on HBO, and the shop being on HBO made it just took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
As you know, you were on HBO.
The golden years. And I remember watching you and again saying, boy, this guy is great. And also, I mean, it wasn't just something you had sort of set up and let go. You're in it yourself, whatever. And I remember you had the biggest yet, let's say, and you had Kanye come on, and it was like, you could have just put it on and you felt like a moral compunction, and you were like, hold on a second here. I don't know if I could put this up. And you called me and we were talking about it, and it's like, you got to go with your gut, and you ended up not running. It would have been front page news everywhere.
Correct. That was a moment. It was my birthday, actually, and Kanye came on, and he and I known him for a very long time, and we talked about it, and we talked about what we were going to discuss, and he came on, and I've never really talked to him something. He decided to go kind of on rants, and then he'd come back, and then he'd rant about this or that and Jewish people. Then he ran about the Kardashians, then he ran about this or that. And I'm sat in the chair, and it was one of the hardest days of my life. I was exhausted in this because I'm sat there going, I'm in the conversation, just like I'm in this conversation with you, thinking about it and thinking about what I'm going to say and what's next. I'm a producer. I'm going, I think this is a great show. I think this is going to be great television. I think this is going to be amazing. I think this episode is going to be awesome. And I'm an owner of a company going, this may end my career. This may end my company. This may, like, I'm trying to.
People that work for me, it's going to reflect on them.
I'm balancing all of those at the same time while I sit there. Producer, host, CEO of a company, all at the same time. It ended. I then had time to think about it. Lots of things bounced from. I called people who I knew could give me great advice on this. Adam, who runs comms for us. The thing I will add to what I said earlier, which was a CEO's job is to drive value for shareholders, investors, partners, and then other employees who work at the company because they get paid there. In driving value for the company, you also have to protect the value that's been driven. The value that you've already got. Part of the other side of the coin is protect investors, shareholders, employees, value.
Yeah.
Drive value, protect value.
Yeah.
Drive value, right? That's the job of the CEO.
Yeah.
And ultimately turn that value into something. That's
Yeah.
kind of the job of the CEO. So in thinking about that, I was like, there was like, will this episode drive value? Maybe, maybe not, probably, but it could ruin value too. That was ultimately decided. And ultimately, this would be the employee base. In my thinking about them, I have to protect them. Can't put this up.
We did a series and developed a whole new camera way of shooting with them and stuff. And in the end, we had to scrap it. We've had to scrap a bunch of stuff. And I'm exactly like you. I'm like, this is great TV, but it's irresponsible.
It's irresponsible. And when you go for shit and take chances, you do make a lot of shit you end up having to scrap. There's other but that's part of also being the CEO is like, you have to go for things. Like, we're going to take the chance here, but you have to be strong enough to go, this isn't good. We got to scrap it.
Well, anyway.
And people come in the room and go, well, we spent $2 million on that. You're like, I don't give a got to scrap it.
I remember that, and it was one of the times when I give you kudos for that, and one of the times when, well, that's a great guy. So I want to go quickly. So you're at the peak. You're on HBO. Your shows are doing well. You're doing major films. using series. I remember at one point, like everything on TV, I was just like, holy shit, these guys are everywhere. You're doing sports, but you're doing, fiction, you're doing the shop, you're doing this, you're doing movies, you're doing animated movies, you're doing Disney. So you're all over the place. At the peak, smart, you decide to sell or merge, or tell me about like what happened there.
At the peak, hopefully there's more peaks, but at one peak, we got a lot of people came in to buy the company.
Right.
A lot of chatter. This is in 21.
As you do.
There's lots of people coming in. There's lots of more board meetings with whiteboards and term sheets, and
a lot less fun.
A lot less
fun than LeBron James whiteboards.
A lot less fun. We then decided we weren't ready to sell. We wanted to keep building the company. Took on some great investors, Redbird Capital, Nike, Epic Games, the UC, the University of California. Took on great investment, kept going. And then we grew the company more. And another part of the CEO's job is going, okay, I've taken it this far. How do I get it? There's another hurdle I got to get here. I'm not sure I can do it myself. I decided a year ago, almost to this day, to merge my company with guys who had built an amazing company like mine called Fullwell 73, merged the companies, and we created Fullwell Entertainment, which I have today. And the decision-making was there, like, we got to a level organically, bootstrapping, just like you, just like knowing, or just like scrapping, pulling things together, make this show, do this, we f that up, stop that, do this, no, that sucks, that's great. Just like pulling it together, fighting every day, fighting with partners.
And things change. HBO's not HBO anymore.
HBO's not HBO. Streaming comes, and so all this is changing. I'm like, okay, how do I get to that next step? It's going to have to be inorganic. And I was very thoughtful in thinking about it's kind of three buckets when you're in the media business, that when you're looking at inorganic growth, that you look to do something, an M&A transaction, and layman mergers and acquisitions. You either merge or buy something or get bought. You look in three buckets. You look at capability. Like, is there some capability out there that we don't have that we can bring in? You could do that through an acquisition, through an acqui-hire, whatever. Is there some IP out there that I can buy? Disney's been the best in the world at that. They bought Star Wars. They bought Pixar. They bought Marvel. They're three of the biggest pieces of IP in the world. They purchased. They bought an IP. We put it into our system, and you grow. Can you buy geographies, right? We're not in this territory. We're not in Europe. We're not in this place. Is there a company over there that will put us into that geography? So there's geography, there's capability, which also comes with systems. And if you're in the tech business, there can be some things there. And there's IP. In partnering and doing the merger with Fullwell, we enhanced our capability massively. We'd never done live. We don't know how to do live. They were the best in the world at live. Today, now we're the best in the world.
What kind of live do they do?
We do the Grammys.
Oh, okay.
We're doing all the ceremonies for the 28 Olympics. We did One Night with Adele at the Griffith Park. We did Dodger Stadium with Elton John. We just did Elton John and Brandy Carmichael. We just did One Shot with Ed Sheeran. We're the best in life. Right. We're the best. And before, me and my company did none of that. So that was like capability that in the merger, and then also geography. They were based out of London. Yeah. We had no office in London. Now we have 80 people in London.
The huge. What people don't realize is like EU is the same size of a media market as well as an economic market as America. Mm-hmm. And Americans just think of America, and you're like, we can just go right there, and it's another market.
Correct. And on their side, they had done mostly work for hire stuff, and we owned a bunch of stuff. We owned brands like The Shop, like Uninterrupted, which mattered in culture. People knew. So it was a beautiful marriage. Yeah. And it's been a year of integration and working it through, and it's been hard. Right. But it's been great because we now are seeing the fruit from all that labor coming down.
Yeah. Well, just getting the Olympics is massive. So the one thing I want to talk about is media is going through flux. They just announced a huge amount of layoffs today because of this sort of, I called this back in the day that there has to be a sort of consolidation, and then, Disney bought Fox, they fired 40,000 people. Disco bought Time Warner, they fired 40,000 people. Now Paramount, Time Warner, they're going to fire. And so things have become, the streamers are winning. Things have become being trite and boring and whatever. Sports is the only thing we don't script. It's the only thing, it's going up. So everything else is sort of going down in value. Sports rights going through the roof because on any given Sunday, it's just the one thing we can't script. The stories are fantastic. Where do you see sports going?
I see,
and content, because you're a sports guy and a content guy.
Where do I see it going? What you said is absolutely right. And the reason is because of everything you said. It is the only eventized television today. Like, I believe the world, media content, is getting pushed to the edges. And the edges are going to be like this. One polar, you're going to have AI, OpenAI, all these companies, Google, like really robots, heavy trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions is going to be dumped into this bucket. And there's going to be massive winners and a lot of losers, which always happens in any revolution. Right. The Industrial Revolution, the Tech Revolution. Now we have this AI one, where you're going to have big winners and a lot of losers. On the other side, which is where I know how to play. I'm no engineer. I'm not a computer scientist. I'm no engineer. On the other side, you're going to have tactile things I can touch, things I like, things that are interesting. And at the highest level of something that is tactile is a human experience. It's something that I literally feel in my stomach. Like, this sweatshirt is tactile. You get a lot of things, this beautiful chairs you can feel, but the highest level of that is like giving me a feeling in my stomach, emotion. That is the highest level of that. So at the highest level of this bucket, which a lot of money will be made and a lot of money will be invested, is sports. Mm-hmm. Because sports is an emotion you can't describe. People live by it, they die by it, they wake up early in the morning, they go to bed late, they instill it in their kids, they give it to their kids. It's just an emotional thing that you can't replace. This can't ever replace the sport, the experience of this. You can't replace Patrick Mahomes. You can't replace Lionel Messi. You can't replace LeBron James.
The World Series.
You can't replace that real life drama that comes with sports.
Also, just sharing it with your family. You talked about your family, like sharing, like your parents taking you to the Super Bowl or whatever, to a ball game, any ball game, Friday Night Lights. And then you get to take your kids, and it's like that's like part of your historical. Like
your lineage.
Yeah.
And so I think so it's just like streaming music is on this end, blew up, it took off. Right. Spotify, Apple Music, there's been hundreds of billions of dollars invested, but all of a sudden vinyl records, all of a sudden, because it's like, there was a headline in the Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks ago that said, teenagers are falling in love with old tech. And the article was about teenagers buying like CDs and vinyl. And I have a 17-year-old and I see it. So I think the world is going to be pushed to these edges. I think content that is not eventized, or producers who can't produce big events and make people love something, and you can't, and in sports, if you can't eventize your product, if the product is not an event, I think it's going to struggle.
Because sports are an event.
Most sports are an event.
Yeah.
Like baseball, the World Series is an event. Game 101 between the Washington Nationals and the Chicago Cubs is not an event. It's a local event.
Right, yeah, local.
But how you monetize that is hard today.
Difficult, yeah.
The World Series is a global event.
Yeah. Okay, last thing. A, will you come to Vegas with me and for F1?
The answer is yes. Cautiously yes, because Vegas with you can be
dangerous.
Can be very
and
dangerous.
Fun. Dangerously fun.
Fun and dangerous, yes.
And
those two things run parallel.
Actually, what we should do is we should do a podcast on the F1, And F1, by the way, speaking of capitalism, F1 should buy it off of us because it's going to be the best podcast.
I'm in for
F1
that for sure.
There we go. F1 podcast. Mav Carter, thanks for coming. Bango.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Hi, it's Shane Smith. I wanted to let you know about my new Substack. I'm shanesmith.substack.com. Now, I'm going to be posting a lot of new content there, from extended versions of this show to behind-the-scenes stories from my adventures all over the world with Vice. Now, the best part, it's free if you sign up now. So go to shanesmith.substack.com and enter your email. That's it, shanesmith.substack.com. Or click the link below, which rhymes with Bazango.